Hello, I'm James Cummings. This is my tactical strength and conditioning spring 2025 warm-up program. It should take us about 10-15 minutes. Apologize for the audio sound. I'm here in Africa. As you can see, we're in a tent and it's always hot, so the air conditioning is going. The way I break it down, warm out, is about 3 to 4 pieces. The first one's going to be myofascial release using the foam roller. After that, we're going to move into some rotational exercises using a PVC pipe. We'll go into a little bit of yoga, and then we'll break into the last couple minutes either doing a concept 2 rower, a skier, the bike, the stair stepper, something to build up that heart rate before we get into our exercises. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to grab our foam roller. Now the key with the foam roller and myofascial release is kind of loosen up those stiff areas that we may have from either today's work or going out, being a tactical athlete. We're always usually in some sort of kit or carrying gear or anything like that. If you feel pretty good, we're still going to hit some of the key areas, see if we can find some of those knots and tight muscle groups. So I always start out with the calves. You'll spend about 15-20 seconds each area rotating your calves in and out, see if you feel any tightness, stiffness, or anywhere in those areas. When you do find those areas, why don't you spend a little bit more time focusing on that, trying to get that those knots worked out and everything before we really start getting into our workout and the rest of our program. From there, I'm going to move up to my hamstrings. Start just above the knees, come up all the way up to the top of the hamstrings, just below those glutes. Good. If you find one leg's got more of a knot than the other, just kind of lean more weight onto that area. Instead of going back and forth, you can go side to side, work that knot out. From there, we're going to hit our IT band. Something that I've noticed with a lot of tactical athletes, you typically have very tight IT bands and Piriformis. We'll hit those really well, as well as our upper back and our thoracic spine. Those tend to be problem areas for a lot of tactical athletes. Key to finding that spot in that Piriformis is it's a nice, soft, tender spot. Once you hit it, you'll know. Sometimes it feels pretty good. Other times it's a little sensitive. That just tells you that you really need to focus on that area. Switch over to the other side. So one thing to remember with the IT band is your IT band, when it's tight, it's kind of like stretching taffy. It doesn't really stretch too well, it stays kind of thick. And then when it's in its most loose state, if you were to pull it, it would look more like cotton candy. So it's a good reference to kind of remember. IT band's not one of those things that you can really ever get fully loose, but you can get it to where it feels a little more comfortable. If you're on your IT band and it's super tight, you just need to focus on stretching, working those outer hip flexors a little bit more. So next, we're going to work on the back. I like to start out at my lower back, just do slight arches, kind of stretching it out, slowly moving it up a little bit before we start foam rolling. Get just below the shoulder blades, work that T-spine a little bit. After that, we're going to hip up. I always start at the top of my back, hitting just below the neck, top of the traps, shoulder blades. Again, you find one of those knots. Again, roll to that side, lean to that side, circles back and forth, working it out. After I do a couple passes with this, one of the things I like to do is I like to start at the top, and as I go one vertebrae at a time, trying to see where I feel a tight spot. A lot of times you'll get your back to pop this way. It's a really good natural way to get it to pop, correct. And once you're there, that nice tight crunch position, slowly coming back down. And one spot at a time. All right, now we're going to move over to the PVC pipe, work on some rotations. So PVC pipe, not the best looking or the best shape. Grab it what's comfortable for you, and we're going to start doing some shoulder rotations. This we're going to do 5 to 10 of each. Really locking those shoulders out. If you really need to work on more flexibility or anything like that, you can go all the way back to the dislocators or skinning the cat, whichever term you'd like to use. From here, we're going to go to the halos, or around the world, depending on what terminology you use. Key to these are just nice and slow, keeping that natural spine position, not looking down, not looking up, that natural position with your chin. If you're someone that sits at a desk a lot or anything like that, kind of focus on doing a little bit of the chin tuck, getting back in that natural position. Opposite direction. One more. From here, we're going to go into the chest stretch. Again, we're going to start out with just a traditional chest stretch. One of the things I like to add to this is a rotational movement. So we're going to rotate one direction. We're going to come up under our toes, hit those ankles a little bit, and you're going to go back the opposite way. Not going for speed, but going for a nice good stretch, rotational movement. If you practice any sort of martial arts, your ankles or your feet are going more into the movement than you would throwing a kick. Those hips involved, loosen those up a little bit. Two more. From here, we're going to continue this stretch with our chest, and we're going to go into an oblique stretch. So we're going to lean as far as we can to the side, kind of pushing that hip out a little bit. You're going to feel this stretch nice down to your obliques. You're going to look toward your hand, and you're going to work on stretching that T-spine out as well. You're going to turn back a little bit if you're too far forward, or go forward a little bit if you're too far back. You'll hold this for about 15 to 20 seconds. Work on that breathing, nice controlled breaths. Come back to that natural upright position. Give this another about 10-15 seconds before we transition to the other side. And again, transition to the other side, kicking that hip out. We'll feel that nice big stretch in those obliques. Looking up toward that other hand, tilting it back a little bit, working that chest into the thoracic spine. All right, from here we're going to go into external shoulder stretch. And grab the PVC pipe, have it run along that forearm, and apply that pressure, keeping that elbow in line with that shoulder. Hold this for 15 to 20 seconds. Again, remember keeping your neck and everything in that natural position. Don't pronate forward or anything of that nature. Go to the opposite side. I like to do this twice on both sides before moving on. A lot of tactical athletes that I've worked with notice that shoulder mobility is a really big one. A lot of times that's due from either doing martial arts, those kind of things, getting in joint manipulations, or doing too much chest exercise, not enough back. Here we're going to go to a lat stretch. So hold the PVC pipe out in front of us. You're going to have one hand on the bottom, one hand on the top. Just push that PVC pipe out away from us, getting our head down in line with our arms. From here we're going to rotate slightly to our opposite side with the hand that's down. Hold that for a couple seconds. Come back to that natural position, and you'll rotate the opposite way. Do about 5 rotations before we switch our hands. Again, nice, slow, hold the stretch. One more rotation, and then we'll switch it up. Now we're going to switch our hands. Whatever hand was on the bottom is now going on the top, and our other hand's going back on the bottom. Another thing to remember with this stretch is we're not moving the hips when we do this. We're just twisting that upper body, getting that good stretch in those lats, a little bit of that tricep area. You'll notice you're probably a little more flexible on one side or the other, depending on whichever hand you have on top. Two more full rotations, and we'll move on to the next one. All right, we're now done with our PVC pipe. Before we go into some yoga poses, we're going to do a thoracic spine stretch. So I always start here at the top, cup my hands together, do a nice big rotation. Again, trying to keep those hips forward without rotating the ankles. You're going to move your hands in circles, slowly working your way down, moving that head in line with the hands, going down. Once you get down to about waist high, hold it for a second, then work your way back up. Do this about 3 times. Up to about eye level, and slowly work your way back down. All right, from here we're going to go into our yoga portion. We're just going to start out with our cat-cow. For each of these positions, we're going to do 3 to 5 breaths, focusing on that breath, keeping those core body alignment nice and tight. So again, start out with a big arch in our back, sagging down in the middle, looking up to the sky. Really controlling that breath. One more. From here, we're going to stay in this position. We're going to draw our hands back a little bit toward our knees. We're going to work on stretching out those forearms, leaning forward. Do that for about 3 breaths. Come back up, walk the hands back out a little bit. Just going to try and twist the body a little. One shoulder, one hip. Do it about 3 times, loosen them up a little bit. Now we're going to rotate our hands, our fingers toward our knees. We're going to try and sit back under our legs, or heel over our feet. You can feel this stretch in those forearms really good. Tactical athletes, we've got to remember to work on grip strength pretty much every day. It's a huge component of being a tactical athlete, is having good grip, being able to carry things, grab onto things, whether it's climbing, holding it down a suspect, anything of that. All right, from here we're going into the child pose. I'm not very flexible due to injury during the French Desert Commando. My ankle's a little messed up. I'm going to come out a little bit wider, feet inward, sit back, walk those hands out, and really focusing on that breath and stretching out those lats again. One more good breath in. From here, we're going to go down into the Cobra. So go into that nice high plank, drop down, arch up, look up. Squeezing those shoulder blades back, pushing that chest out, focusing on those good breaths. Get one more breath. Now we're going to move into the down dog, back to that high plank, push the hips back. Again, due to injury, my right leg's not going to be nearly as good as my left. You should feel this in the glutes, the hamstrings, back of the calves. Not really feeling it that well. You do what's called walk the dog. Drive one knee forward, opposite leg goes straight. It gives you a little bit more of a stretch in the opposite leg, whichever one's straight behind you. At about 2 more breaths. From here, we're going right back into that high plank. Now we're going to do a big deep lunge. Bring that leg forward. I'm going to keep it on the outside of my hand. I'm going to drive that knee to the ground. Here, I'm just getting that lunge, feeling the stretch down into the back of the hamstring, pushing that knee outward, getting the stretch to the groin. Do this for about 3 more breaths. Really trying to open up those hip flexors. I'm going to come back up. I'm going to focus on driving this hip forward toward those toes and keep this one straight. I'm going to feel that stretch right up front. From here, I can either grab my ankle, or what I like to do is hook my fingers in the back of my shoe. If I can keep my balance great, I'm going to bring that knee up, the heel up to my butt. I'm going to squeeze in my glute, feel the stretch in the top of my quads. I'm going to try and arch a little bit to backwards, try and keep those hips forward of that knee, getting a real good tight stretch in there. 2 more breaths. Here, I'm going to put my hands back, stand back up. I'm going to bring that leg underneath me into the pigeon. Again, the more flexible you are, the more this leg's going to be parallel with the rest of your body. Actually, it'll be perpendicular to the rest of your body. Driving that knee and those hips down. You're going to feel this stretch really in that piriformis. Probably my favorite stretch out of all of them. Here, I'm going right back up to that nice high plank. And then I'm going to do the opposite side. A big step forward, driving that leg outward, doing the stretch of the groin, back of the hamstrings. And then right back up, driving this hip forward, getting the hip flexor there. Back. Again, hooking my fingers into the back of my shoe. Coming up. Squeezing that glute. Driving that hip forward. Pulling that leg back. Feel that nice stretch in those quads. Coming back up, going right into that pigeon. As you can see, I'm a little more flexible on this side than the other side. You can go all the way down, then you can start leaning forward, trying to get that forehead onto the ground. You're going to try to stretch even more. So drop down onto your elbows, not quite there yet. Back up. And then from here, we would do about 2 minutes on some sort of cardio equipment. Concept 2 rower, a skier, a bike, stair stepper, any of those pieces of equipment. The way I have start out is just start out kind of slow, get loosened up, get that blood flowing, and then slowly increase to where you're almost at that final sprint in that last 10 seconds. Again, just for 2 minutes, get that body warmed up before we move into more strenuous exercises. Thanks.